Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday and another edition of Danny and Tim's Music Scene. Always enjoyable. Every other week we get together and kick things around in the world of music, past, present, future, and all kinds of great things always, and sometimes so many things maybe we won't get to them all, but we've got a lot to talk about as far as the struggles of live performing these days, both in the UK and this country, and how bands are trying to make it go, even in a time when there's a lot of venues and a lot of fans that want to go, but maybe the monetary aspects aren't great there. We'll talk about iconic performers from Willie Nelson to Johnny Cash, Bon Jovi, and newer talents who have a lot to say, like St. Vincent. And I've revisited a couple of old CDs, and there's some cool shows that are out there and some things that are being released that I could give you a little heads up on. We've got always a lot on our plate. It's always eclectic. It's always interesting. We'll see where it takes us. Tim Finn's always a pleasure to talk to, and we'll do so next. You can hear him on 90.9 The Bridge on Fridays and read his work here and there. And his Facebook page is always a tremendous catch with a lot of cool information musically and otherwise. So, let's get rolling. Coming up next, it's Danny and Tim's Music Scene as part of Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, presented by Cinematic Visions.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Visions' goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300.
Hey Kansas City, Joe Spiker, Easton Roofing here. Well, it hailed like crazy, and the last thing you want to do is deal with another roofer, so don't. When they show up, tell them you know a guy. An Easton Roofing sign in your yard lets everybody know you want it done right, and it's the best storm chaser repellent you can get. Call us today for a free, no-obligation inspection, 913-257-5426 or eastonroofing.com. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business on Kansas City's #1 rated podcast, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you.
Welcome back, and live music is alive and well in some ways. Let's explore a little bit of this. Tim, you went to see a favorite of your wife's recently, the Alvvays band. I had a couple of friends on a text stream who were going to that and very excited about this long-standing, I think, Canadian power pop band. Been around for a while. It's sort of a underground favorite of many, and you got a little taste of that.
Yeah, I did. So I'd heard their music intermittently because, it's in Michelle's playlist, and she's been a fan. They've been around, for about 10 years, I think, and have slowly generated enough of a following to sell out the Truman on a Tuesday night, I think, maybe. And which means there were like 1,500 people there, and it was wall to wall. It was packed, and people were singing along to most of the songs. There were some new songs, like I told you before. All the songs are new to me because I'm not that familiar with their.
Right.
But when they come on, I notice it, and I have on my Spotify, it goes. There's a band compilation, and then there's like Always Radio, and they compile bands that sound like them. And so I've listened to that a couple of times. I like it. We've talked about this kind of music. It's not aggressive, but it's edgy. It's energetic. It's melodic, lots of harmonies. It's not standard top 40 pop, radio pop, but it has this poppiness to it. And it was really enjoyable. Lots of energy, the crowd was respectful and very much into it. And yeah, there are five people in the band. I'm assuming gender here, but four are women. And they've been around. They just got a new bass player, I think, 2 years ago. But otherwise, I think the lineup has remained steady. And yeah, they're from Canada, which, they're exporting a lot of good music. And I would put this band as one of the better ones coming out of there. But yeah, I was surprised. And what I noticed, a lot of guys at the show, like they seemed to me going in, I thought the ratio would be different, but it was predominantly,
Mm-hmm.
And I met some guys that I used to work with at the Star who were my age, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we love this band." And I thought, "Wow, I was unaware." So I have a better sense of them now. But yeah, it was a good show.
It's Alvvays. It's spelled with two V's, but it's pronounced Alvvays. And maybe next time around, people can catch them. Obviously, a good following for them, and hopefully, at a sellout of 1,500, they made themselves a nice little bit of money on the evening, which isn't really the case a lot. There's a lengthy article. I've talked about the Guardian quite a bit, and I subscribe to it, and they do a great what's called sleeve notes on Friday, and there's always a tremendous amount of really good articles in there, and this was an in-depth look at, basically in the UK, how difficult it is for bands to make money with club dates and festivals and things like that. And, these people sometimes want to put on a great show, and they have multiple members, and they're talking about even in places where maybe there'll be a headliner and have 300 people and fill up a club, that they'll come out maybe just barely making money or not making money. And since people don't make much money on recording anymore, they're leaning on live performance, and if live performance isn't going to be there for monetary gain, then you're down to merch. And for some people, they say that's about the way they can make it go. And it was really kind of a downbeat article, but with hope that maybe people can, or the governments or assistants can help out. It's just a reflection of yes, we have a lively post-COVID music scene, I think, but maybe it's rough on the artists.
Yeah, I wonder if it's every day I get on social media and there's another festival announced, and it's like the one I just saw had, the headliners are major attractions, and it's three, it's a Thursday or a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I can think of at least 10 that I've come across in the last 4 or 5 months. And I just wonder who's going to buy all these tickets? Because the lineups are stacked. Even our Boulevardia has got some really good, it has a really good lineup this year, which is coming up in June. I don't know. There's so many big tours coming through this summer. And I wonder, it sounds like maybe that was about the smaller venues.
Yes.
I wondered that last year with, we had 2 of the biggest tours ever come through between Taylor Swift and Beyonce, and those tickets were exorbitant. But, you spend that much money on one show, you're not as likely to spend money on a club show, which even those tickets are comparably cheap. But if you get 2, you're still going to spend near $100.
Yeah.
And then plus you go to the show and all the other expenses involved. So, I don't know about this over here, that when I talk to club owners, and I don't do it as much as I used to, of course, but post-COVID, they were thinking, yeah, we're not where we were, but we're way better than we were. So, but I think the margins are thin, and
right.
Which, to go back to the stadium vote, which is why everyone was terrified, even if they weren't in the footprint down there, that any kind of disruption would be of harm to them, because every show needs to do reasonably well, because they can't suffer any more loss.
Well, we have many artists who obviously are breaking through, are becoming quite well known, but maybe not at the arena style level. And St. Vincent is one of those artists, and she is not St. Vincent. She becomes multiple personalities depending on the album. Her latest album, also in The Guardian, was given 5 stars, but also she's been outspoken about the subject of covers, and particularly Hallelujah. By the way, I went to an arts thing down in the Bottoms the other day, where they opened up an art gallery area, and you could go in and see the art and have drinks. And when I walked in, they had a little guitarist in the lobby. That thing was on the 5th floor, but he was playing in the lobby, and darned if he wasn't playing Hallelujah. But St. Vincent apparently has had enough of this.
Yeah, she caught wind of that. They were doing it on one of the, reality shows. American Idol is the one she cited, but I'm sure it's been on others. And she was just very brief but succinct and like, leave that song alone. These amateurs are doing it and they're ruining it. The song is sacred. Read the story behind the song. It took Leonard Cohen years to write it. His label didn't like it. It was included in the Shrek soundtrack, which gave it a lift, and then people started covering it. Rufus Wainwright does a really nice cover.
Yes,
Katie
he does,
Lang.
yeah.
But after that, I'm like, okay, it's been done. Jeff Buckley did one even before any of this, and he's revered for his voice. So that's a very melodramatic version of it. But yeah, I think it needs to be left alone, or left to people who understand. It's about a lot of things. It's about religion. It's about spirituality. It's about sex. It's a complicated song with lots of nuances. And I heard Leonard Cohen do it the only time I saw him, when his comeback tour anyway. And
yeah,
I
was at that show. It was great.
Yes. Yeah. Amazing. So I'm all with that. Like I told you before, like there's like no one needs to cover Across the Universe anymore, even though Fiona Apple's done a really nice version, Rufus Wainwright again. But I think John Lennon's is a definitive one. And my thing about covers is like I came across a cover from a Nico Case live album, and she covered this song Soulful Shade of Blue by Buffy St. Marie. Her rendition is beautiful, but it made me go back and explore some Buffy St. Marie. And I think that's the ideal mission of a cover. It's not one that's been done 100 times. Found a great song, a really good song, bring it out, uncover it, and then let people go back and explore the original versions. And so that's one version of covering song that I support. But otherwise, that song, it's becoming like Hallelujah is becoming like that song Wagon Wheel, which everyone was doing. You couldn't escape that song. The Hootie did it. Darius Rucker did a cover that went crazy, but it was written by the guy from Old Crow Medicine Show, who wrote a melody to Dylan's lyrics anyway. And then it was just a flood of them. And like you'd walk into any singer songwriter night or open mic night and you'd hear it at least once. And so, I would put that sometimes in reviews, like, the best thing about the show is no one covered Wagon Wheel. It's been 10 days since I heard Wagon Wheel. So
that's funny.
Enough is enough.
Yeah, I have a high school reunion coming up in the fall, and there's various little sites that are out there that people are paying attention to because the reunion's coming up. And there's one lady who's especially prolific, sending out questions and wants us to where we live now and all this other stuff. And so anyway, she put up a thing about covers. I'll get to another funny thing in a second, but I grew up obviously in the Boston area, and I got some real blowback, and not good, because I revealed that Aerosmith on their second album, Get Your Wings, which is an outstanding album, and it has a couple of songs that are live that are in the middle of a regular album, and one of them is Train Kept A-Rollin', which is a cool version, but for some reason there's two big wailing guitar solo parts in it, and they are not Joe Perry and Brad Whitford. They got session musicians, and actually when you listen to it back, you can tell, actually, once you find out, because it's not the style of it. And a lot of my friends from high school are like, I didn't want to know this. I don't need to know this. Anyway, so covers...
Buzzkill.
So covers can be done in not exactly the most perfect way. But I also, the other day, was just going through cleaning up some things in my house, and of course I went 6 months in my new-to-me car before I discovered there was a CD player in it. So I've gotten to revisit my CDs. It was in a different spot than my previous car, so I was bummed I didn't have a CD player, and I have a million CDs, and of course people don't really care about that much anymore. So I was digging through my CDs, and I actually found, when I was at the Final Four in 2012, it was in New Orleans, and I was there a day earlier than most people, and so I went walking down to Bourbon Street. Nothing was going on, and on the way back to my hotel, in this alcove of a building, this group is called the Salt Wives, and they actually played French Baroque music. It was